Bullying has been around forever. It's just a stage we pass through, a harmless prank, even humorous at times. That's Hollywood. This is reality.
I'm nice.
Recent statistics indicate an increase in bullying throughout our country. And although the internet accounts for a portion of these figures, reported cases of bullying have increased significantly overall in recent years. There are no quick fixes for this serious problem, but educators, community leaders, and the public at large agree there is an urgent need to develop tools to combat this destructive and sometimes fatal epidemic. Coach Tyrone White has been at the cutting edge of modern coaching and training techniques for more than 20 years. His innovative, informative seminars have positively impacted the lives and careers of countless students and educators throughout the country. Now, Coach Ty, you've done a lot of coaching on a lot of different subjects, a lot of different seminars, youth violence, drug use, sexual abuse. What got you into bullying?
Well, it's really an extension of everything that I've ever been involved in as a professional, from working in juvenile court with kids that have come into some pretty bad spaces. It is the whole panoply of things, and so all of them are intertwined, so it was a logical progression.
And people are recognizing you as an expert, too.
Yes, many times when there's a situation that happens, whether it be from a national, sometimes even international perspective, or yet local, I get phone calls as a frequent television correspondent to speak on these issues that impact children.
Now, what techniques do you use during your seminars?
One of the things, Jackie, that I do is different from most sessions that you'll sit in. I not only give people the facts, but I give them a feeling for the facts. And that kind of ties into one of the things that Stephen Covey said in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Seek to understand before trying to be understood. If you don't have a feeling for the facts, if you don't understand why, then you can never arrive at what to do. And so when people come out of my sessions, they not only know why, they have a feeling for why, but then they learn what to do.
Sure. Now, one of the dynamic parts of your seminars, besides your speaking, is the panel discussion that you have. How do you arrive at the type of people that you have on your panel, and what role do they play in your seminars?
You raise a very good point, because that's also a distinguishing factor. I'll do a presentation, workshop, training, and then there are occasions where I'll do a panel discussion with invited colleagues that I'll bring in. For example, I brought in a judge who presided over the case of a school shooting whereby 3 children were killed and several others were injured, Judge Tim Grindell. I brought in a forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Cheryl Wills, who specializes in school-related violence. And then I also brought in a parent whose son had committed suicide at a school where you had 6 suicides happen, actually 5, within a 6-year period, triggered by incidents of bullying. I bring in people that are relevant, topical. They fill questions from me in terms of a talk show type format, and then the audience that participated in the precursor, my training, are allowed to ask the panelists questions. So that just kind of fleshes out the value that people walk away with.
It seems that bullying is very, very prevalent. Is it growing? Are there more incidents of bullying, or is the bullying different? Why do you think there's so much discussion about it? And it does seem like a lot of people are being more proactive.
Bullying has always been around. I'm sure you can remember days back, when you were coming through. It's always been around. The body is the same, but it's a different face. That different face takes the form of the internet. And so now those children that may not have ordinarily stepped forward to become bullies in our day, because, you couldn't hide. You either were going to be out there on the schoolyard,
Right.
picking on people. That's pretty clear. But now the kind of, lack of a better word, mousy, quiet type kid now has the internet as a tool. And they can exact the same type of harm thinking that they can be anonymous. So I think the pond has become much wider.
Sure. What do you think the solution is? I know it's a very big problem with a lot of different dynamics. What do you think the solution is?
It's trifold. We've got to educate parents on how to recognize two things. If your child is a victim, okay, because there are clear telltale signs, or if your child is a bully, we've got to teach parents that as well.
And that's a difficult thing for parents
It is.
to believe, oh, my child couldn't do something like that.
Yes. And that's the hardest thing for parents to acknowledge, on either side. Because when you have a parent who has a child that's being victimized, now that the parent feels powerless, they feel like they're inept in their parenting. And sometimes, parents will move to denial to cope with that reality, and the child still goes on being a victim. But also those that are outside, the stakeholders, so that they can become a part of the process. The other thing, part of this kind of trifold, in addition to educating parents, we have to educate those that interact with children, the educators, the caregivers. We've got to teach them so that they can manage their programs in an effective way. Because the downside is this: if a school system is not managing their programs after school, during school, there's liability from the top down, civil, as well as huge PR problems.
What makes your seminars so unique?
Well, I like to say that I give people an understanding of what's going on, what am I looking at, and why is this happening, and then being able to move in with specific strategies to address it. A lot of times people will look at you, Jackie, and say, well, thou shalt not. Well, you can say that all day. Nancy Reagan said, just say no. But if you don't tell me what I can say yes to and what to do, then you really wasted my time by just kind of goring me out with all the facts and then left me bleeding with no resolve at the end of the day.
Well, I certainly have learned a lot. Thank you so much for that. Coach Ty is addressing a very important issue in our society, one that impacts our children daily. If your school or organization would like to better equip yourselves to identify bullying and address these issues, I urge you to contact the address on your screen.